I have said time and time again that I am great at starting series, but not so great at finishing them. So today I have 10 series that I want to make a priority in 2025. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brie and this is 4 Paws in a Book. I thought about going over every single series that I was in the middle of. I did that last year and it was a lot, and this year there's even more, and I thought, that's boring to film. It's definitely boring to watch. So instead, I made a list of 10 series that I want to prioritize this year and make sure that I get up to date with those. I've broken these up into 2 categories. So 5 of the books, I am only 1 book behind. That would either complete the series or it would make me at least up to date with the most recent publication. And then there are 5 series that I have that I am more than 1 book behind. In some cases, there are 4 books. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I want to make these a priority in 2025. And I thought doing 10 series was a little bit more manageable. I can look back at the end of the year and see if I did it, than trying to go over like 75 series. That's boring. So let's start with the 5 books that I have only 1 book behind. This will be an easy way to kickstart my goals and try to knock these series out. The first one I'm putting on here is Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. So this is like, technically this is the 3rd of 4 books, but Burn is not out yet. So we're adding this to the list. I would like to finish this before Burn comes out so that I can, be in the know. But she's a chonker. She's like 800 pages. I don't foresee myself getting to this by the end of the year. I really wanted to, but I just don't see it happening. So we are going to put this on our 2025 list. It is the 3rd book in the Kindred's Curse saga. I gave both Spark and Glow 5 stars. I predict that I will love this one just as much. We are really ramping up the tension, the stakes, the politics, but also the romance and the steam, and I'm here for all of it. This is such a good balance of fantasy and romance, and I cannot wait to get to this. Next up is a 2nd book in a duology. I love duologies. That I read the 1st book during Amazing Readathon last year, 2023, and I just never continued the series. That is The Blood Gift by Annie Davenport. This is a like sci-fi fantasy romance. It's definitely more playing on the like fantasy and politics and world building. This is kind of like 4th Wing, but without the dragons. But there is a revolution. There is, it's an underdog story, and I really, really liked the 1st book. But I need to get back to the 2nd one before I completely forget what had happened. Also, another duology that I just haven't read the 2nd book. Listen, I have a problem. But that is Life After Death by S.C. Muir. This is the 2nd book in the Dual Mage duology, and it is another political fantasy romance where our 2 main characters are from opposite kingdoms and they are forced together in a political marriage. And it's a really sweet relationship, a romance between these 2 people that just did not know each other. Like, they're not rivals, they don't hate each other, they just didn't know anything about each other. So they're trying to like get to know each other, learn about each other, learn about like being in this relationship, while also trying to completely fight the system. And there are traitors and there is this rebellion, and they are trying to fight the system. I read the 1st book during Amazing Readathon this year. I gave it 5 stars. It's one of those books, it's like, it wasn't a perfect book, but it was perfect at the time, and it was just like a right book, right time. And then for some reason I just never continued on with the series. Actually, I can tell you exactly why. There's no audiobook, and physical reading just doesn't happen a lot. So now I'm gonna make it a priority. Then the last 2 series that I only have 1 book in, both are from Carissa Broadbent. So first off, this one, The Book of Shame, okay? I have had this book, this one singular book, on my physical TBR for 2 years. I read this, the 2nd book, I want to say like September of 2023. So, okay, a year and a half, whatever. I need to finish this series. I need to finish this series. I've heard such good things about it, but it's so big. I loved the first 2. I have a feeling I'm gonna love this one as well. I just need to read it. And then this one is like less shame-inducing, but I need to read The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. This is the 3rd book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. It's like the 1st book in a new duology within the same world. It just came out in November, so like I don't feel so bad. However, this book is getting some mixed reviews, and I want to get to it before some more negative reviews come out and I have like a tainted view of it, if that makes any sense. This dives into the underworld. There is definitely like some trauma within the relationship, as well as, I've been told, kind of a like a religion fiction aspect to it. I don't know. This has a lot of buzzwords for me and I feel like I'm gonna love it, but we'll see. We'll see. I also think that book 2 in this series will be coming out later in 2025. There's not a release date or anything for it, but if she's following the same traditional release schedule that she has historically, I need to read this before the next one comes out. All right, now let's talk about books that I really need to read because I either haven't started the series or I am several books behind. It's fine, okay? I'm gonna start with the ones that are not Romantasy. I have 2 of those and then I have 3 Romantasy series. As you can tell, we are definitely in our Romantasy era. That's gonna be a focus going forward. But I do have 2 that are not Romantasy. So first up, the Locked Tomb series. I read the first one like a year ago. I have the second and the third book. I only gave the first book like 3.5 stars. I do think that the series is going to get better as we go along. However, the reason that I'm putting this series on here is because recently I have been approached by both a coworker and my sister about this series. And asking me about it, asking me if I've read it, and like trying to talk to me about it. I was like, yeah, I read the first one, but I don't really remember a lot of it, and I never continued on with the series. And so now I feel like a bad booktuber, okay? Like 2 people who don't even read nearly as much as I do have read it, and I haven't. So I need to finish this. My coworker absolutely loved this series, and so like tries to keep talking to me about it. I'm like, okay, I will read it, I promise. So that's why it's going on here. And then this one specifically is for you, Caitlin. Because we had made a deal to read this series last year, okay? We were gonna read a book every other month. We were gonna be done by the end of December, and here we are. I haven't read any of them. I need to continue the Chorus of Dragons series. I read the first one 2 years ago, maybe, I think. I own the whole series, okay? They are taking up so much room on my shelves and I don't know if I'm gonna continue them. I don't know if I'm gonna like them. So I need to read this one, The Name of All Things, early, so that I can see if I want to continue on with the series. I feel like if I like the second one, I will continue. That's kind of how I'm gonna gauge it. I really loved Jen Lyon's writing style, but they're so chunky. They're like a dense epic fantasy. And I think I'm just like overwhelmed, terrified. I don't think I'm smart enough for these books. That's my problem. But in theory, I should really like this. I should enjoy this series. I don't want to unhaul it without at least trying the next book. So we're putting it on this list for next year. All right, and then 3 Romantasy series that I want to get to. The first one is the Legends of Thesmar series. I guess what this one is called. Blood and Steel is the first book. The reason why I'm putting this on here, it's a quartet, it's a finished series, but Iron and Embers, which is the 2025 release, is a companion series to this. I know that Helen has said that you can read the new one, Iron and Embers, without having read Blood and Steel and that series, but I don't want to. I want to be a completionist, so I want to read the series like sooner rather than later, because Iron and Embers comes out at the end of January, and I know that I won't be able to read it like right away, but I don't want the book to be like lost into the ether, so I want to read this series first. I read Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Schreier, I think it was back in March, and absolutely loved it. Okay, that was like the domino that started Romantasy for me this year. Absolutely loved it, and it's a standalone within the same world. They're all kind of sort of related, some characters overlap, so I don't know, I want to be a fangirl of this world. I don't know, I want to be a fangirl of Thesmar. Then the series that is taking the world by storm right now, at least booktube by storm, my corner of booktube, I don't know, but the Beast of the Briar series by Elizabeth Helen. This is book 2. This is Woven by Gold. There are 4 books out currently, and then I think they have at least 2 more in the series. This starts out as a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it kind of goes way beyond that, right? It starts out as Beauty and the Beast with the Beast actually being 4 Fae princes, and this is a why choose romance, and I read the first one way back at the beginning of the year. Nobody was really talking about it, but then everybody started talking about it after Fairy Loot came out with a special edition. Now everybody is talking about it, and I would like to, I want to continue it, okay? The covers are stunning, and yeah, I want to be in the know. And then another series that is definitely taking the world by storm, and that is Kingdom of Lies by Stacia Stark, A Court This Cruel and Lovely is the first book. I do have this book on my 25 and 25 TBR, but honestly, I want to read the whole series. I believe it's a quartet, and I think it's completed at this point. I really don't know. Don't quote me on this. Listen, fantasy romance series are so big and complex, and then it's like spin-offs of series, so I don't know. But I know that there are 4 books out. And this is a very political historical fantasy romance. This sounds like it's going to have so many buzzwords for me. It feels like a Brie book, honestly, if there ever was a Brie book. So we're adding this series to my TBR for next year. All right, those are 10 series that I really want to make some progress in, maybe even catch up and be completed. Who knows? Let me know a series down in the comments below that you want to catch up on in 2025. And if you're not feeling chatty, do the calendar emoji. If you want to watch the video where I DNF'd a bunch of series and took them off of my list for 2025, I will leave that video right here. You can go check it out. And if you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, than links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!